there, Smite fans. My name's F-Dot, otherwise known as Tom, and I'm joined here with three friends this time. Well, it's been the same pretty much all the way around, but I'm with Team Obey here this time around. I've got a mid laner named Pretty Prime, I've got a captain and a hunter named Ataraxia, and then I've got the real captain, it's Captain Twig in the jungle. So you guys are all here. You guys look relatively rested. How you guys feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. I think we're just feeling pretty fresh. We had a great sleep. You know, there's these really comfy sofa beds, and they're just extra springs and stuff to dig into your back, and it's just all cozy. So, yeah.
Talk to me about why you guys brought Hazer on the team.
So the main reason for me is that when we were watching the games at the group stage because they were in the same group as us, and when Cyclone lost the game, Hazer went on stage to do the talk afterwards, and he just swore at them. And he said, "You guys suck. You're really really," and get it together. And that might sound funny, and why would you want that? But it's that passion, and I think that that's missing from a lot of coaches. And it was something that I think that we really needed for the team. So that was the main reason why.
You guys have been strong, going back, hungry for more, and then you guys got picked up by Obey. And Hazer just sort of another step in the row of continuing on that upswing. What do you think allows you guys to just have such continuous and honestly successful success?
I feel like this is the perfect answer comes from Pretty Prime in this one.
I don't know. We're sticking together at least. Like, that's the most important part. Yeah, we keep the main roster going and we just practice really hard. And then we really needed a coach because we do not really shine in scrims. We need to take our scrims to the next level and just keep on grinding.
So it's all just the work behind the scenes that allows you guys to do what you do.
Yeah. Like all the work that people don't really see and all that stuff.
But it works out. I mean, I've spoken to a number of teams that have got coaches, and at the end of the day, it's not always about the X's and O's. You guys are the players. You guys know what to do. Sometimes it's you need somebody to tell you what not to do, right? And it sounds like that's kind of where Hazer kind of steps up.
Yeah, I think so. It's the overall strategy and preparation is the main thing that he will be filling for the team, and based on last LAN, I think that's our biggest area of improvement because it was really bad. It wasn't that great.
You guys had your struggles, but like I said, I think the overarching story of Obey or Hungry for More has been success, right? You guys have had your down times, which probably not at the greatest of moments, but in general, you guys have been successful. Now, you guys are a younger team. I've spent a lot of time today and other days talking to teams like Orbit and talking to teams that have a little bit more tenureship, right? Those guys have been together for a long time. What are some of the unique difficulties that you guys have being a younger team, like I said, just basically this year?
I think it's not as bad for all of us as some other newer teams like Cyclone and Sanguine, because all of us have been on top tenure teams in the past that have had a long history. We came from Titan, Twig from Fnatic, and I think that kind of it carries over a little bit. Obviously, you're still in your roster, but it's not like you're just starting out at the bottom. Everyone has an idea of how to be at the top, and it's made the transition easier, which is why I think we stepped up a bit quicker than some other teams.
Yeah, you guys, SK was together for so long, and Titan, you were famous for not making a single roster change, and, Captain Ataraxia of Titan and over here to Obey, that kind of has stuck. You guys have had some issues in different positions, and as a team, you've stuck to it. Why is that the strategy?
Well, you've got to work through it. You can't just, if something doesn't work out for a week or for a month even, there's so many deciding factors that could be. It's not just, snap your fingers, roster changes, never the way to solve it. We've seen, in particular, NA this year, there have been so many roster changes, and almost never has it worked out, really, until the team decided to buckle down and really sit through it. And I think that's it. You can't be too easy to kick someone because it never works out.
For sure, and it's certainly working out here. And you specifically, Ataraxia, you've got an eye for talent. You and I speak a lot about the game, and specifically about some of the choices about putting this roster together. I was famously not too high on Variety. And then this year, I mean, I got to give credit where credit's due. He's probably one of the top solo laners, and I didn't see the potential, but you certainly did. What was the inspiration for putting together these group of 5 players?
It was super regionals, I think, because this time last year, me and Prime were on Titan, and it did not go that well for us. We didn't qualify. We got knocked out straight away. I think it was great time of our lives. But we got the pleasure to watch Captain Twig with Fnatic as I believe that they had a rough tournament just as bad as us, but they made it to the wild card against Eager, I believe, and Twig on Humbats. I believe he single-handedly, he was the big player that made them through that and to qualify for Worlds. And for me in particular, that was a big eye-opener. And Variety did the same thing with Dignitas against Paradigm, where they were they threw, they were through to Worlds essentially in game 5 of 5, and then they had this really bad Fire Giant. And throughout that entire set, Variety played extremely well. And it was confusing to me how a lot of people, because people did call him bad. It wasn't just it was a shared opinion. And after seeing that, I was convinced that he was far from it.
It's exciting to me how you can sort of see that talent through all of the nonsense. And how did that result into you had much respect for Harry's game, you had much respect for Twig's game, and how does that wind up? How do you go from saying, hey, I think you're really good, to, all right, we're a team of 5? How did you put together the squad?
I think everyone on our teams, because Fnatic, Dignitas, and Titan had all been around for a fair bit of time, and they were never seeing the success that everyone on their roster thought they would. And I think that was kind of the big click that and roster changes were happening anyway, but it was mostly that if we put them together, we're not seeing the success we want now, so if we put them together, we'll have a better chance.
So you guys, was it just a couple of messages here and there that sort of got everybody together?
Yeah, it was. There was a lot of espionage on my part, at least when I was an analyst at Worlds. I got the chance to speak to Fnatic and Twig. A few whispers in his ear saying, "Hey, come make a team with me." No, it was nothing shady like that. But it's just after the season 2 ended, it was just talking and very straight to the point about what we wanted. We wanted to be the best. We wanted to pull no punches. It was. The aim of this team is to win Worlds Season 3. And although it's been a bit rough, we're at the point where we can get there. So it's stayed roughly on course, a bit of turbulence, but
yeah, no, exactly.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and when you look at, I always look at the bookends, right? Where did you guys start and where you had right now, and the second bookend pushes further. But at the end of the day, you just see this consistent improvement, and I think that's very impressive. Where do you think that comes from? Is that your sort of headstrong attitude at Araxio, or is it something with the rest of the team?
I think it would probably be more towards Prime. I think I do the interviews and stuff like that, but I think the real heart and core of it has always been Prime. It's the same on Titan. It's not me. I do the interviews and stuff. I talk more like I've been right now, but it's really this guy, and people should give him more credit for it. He's the real heart of it.
Yeah,
I do good.
You could make a sports film about him, I reckon.
Pretty Prime making it happen. So Prime, why don't you pipe up? What helps you sort of help the unit?
I think what I bring is calm, basically. Like, I am very strict, that I don't really tilt that often, and I don't know. I try to keep the team together as we go through a game, basically.
So you're the Swedish lobster. Is that it?
Yeah. I think that's a mid lane thing, though. You calm and try to rally the troops when things go south.
But what would you say is your greatest strength as Team Obey?
It might actually be the catalyst thing you said, because I think a very important thing is that when people call you the best all the time, it can really get to your head, and then maybe you don't need to practice as much. Oh, I don't need to play ranked today. I can just chill. And maybe if people are always calling you bad, then until you accept that, which I will never. I'm good at Smite, but if you don't accept that and you're like, no, I'm going to prove people wrong, then that's permanent motivation to prove it, and you don't get that if everyone keeps calling you the best. You just are content, I guess.
That's certainly very true. And if that's your strength, if you're able to sort of take those comments and use them as jet fuel, what's Obey's weakness? I'm not asking you for your strategy, and I'm not saying how do I beat you on the battlefield, but what do you think is sort of the Achilles heel or one thing that brings you guys down?
I think the Achilles heel for our team is when we win too easily. Anyone watching the group stages last time, there was a game 2 in our first set against Cringe Crew where we were winning and we would have won. And then a certain member on our team, not going to say who, he likes to clap a bit, he trolled a little bit and we ended up losing the game on it. And I think it's just that kind of, I think if things go too well for us, then we get a bit cocky and very complacent. And that's always the danger thing we need to watch. And I think going into a best of 5, that might end up hurting us more than it should.
So we'll have to make sure that your opponents are top tier. And then coming back to, like you said, you don't want to mention any names, but let's talk about the individuals on the team. So we'll start off with a random person. Let's say Frezzy. He's obviously one of the more active players. I can't remember what his name is at the moment. He changes every other day. Frezzy seems from the outside looking in to be sort of the morale guy, the guy keeping you guys in check, making sure that everybody's at least a little bit in the right state of mind. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, he's never the depressing guy. He never gets sad. He's never rage quitting scrims or stuff like that. That's Harry. No, he's very, he's kind of like Prime in that same way, in that he doesn't really get down, at least during the scrims. And I think on the topic of him, I do think, and I've preached this for a while. I spoke to a lot of the pros about it, but I think he is a top tier support. And people watch him and they call him an idiot and they say, why is he doing this? How is he on a pro team? But people just don't understand. And I think a very dangerous contrast, which I'm going to go with, and I'll probably regret this later, is the way that people, let's bring politics into this, the way that people look at Trump and call him an idiot and stuff. And while some of his stuff is very dangerous, and I don't blah, blah, he is not as dumb as people think he is. And I think that's the very same story of Frezzy, is that people think he's this when he's definitely not. And it's a complete other story. So basically, Frezzy is Donald Trump, and that's going to be his name in season 4.
I get it. It's
going to mean Amir.
Frezzy likes to play
I
Amir.
already regret this. All of this. This was a mistake.
I get it. I get it. I get where you're coming from. But like you, I'm going to walk away from that one with everything in my pockets. But it makes a lot of sense. So Frezzy's job on the team is sort of keeping everybody in check and making sure that nobody's too upset. Who's the one that gets people upset? Who's the one that calls players out?
I wouldn't say that he calls people out, but Harry is definitely the one to get upset if things don't go well. He's got a bit of a potty mouth, calls people some mean words, especially about the opposition. But it's got its own unique kind of comedy to it. That's kind of how the team has a very dark humor in private. So I think it works out. It's not really a detriment.
And then Prime's the great equalizer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Prime and Frezzy are probably the most balanced. Prime definitely. He's never seems to be angry ever with anyone, and he just kind of keeps everyone on a level.
Who winds up being the main shot caller? Who's your IGL? Your in-game leader? Who's the guy that's running the show?
I think it's a bit of everyone. Whoever's kind of doing the best. Whoever's feeling the mood the most will usually end up taking a lot of charge. I think I'm usually the naysayer, telling people not to do stuff. Prime does a lot of the objective stuff. Doesn't do a lot of objecting securing, though.
That's hard.
The go through in the fire giant, they're very good at juking Vulcan ults and and not going down when they're meant to. But no, I think everyone chips in and brings their part.
Is there someone with the final say or a more vocal person?
It's usually whoever's doing the best. It's not the most on paper, not the best system, but whoever is really feeling that sound. Whoever's the biggest in the game usually has the biggest impact. So their say tends to go because they'll be speaking the loudest because they're the hypest.
Who has the craziest calls? Who's calling the sneaky
Frezzy.
4-minute goal?
Frezzy.
It's Frezzy?
1 minute goal free, 10-minute fire giant. Guys, I've got hog. Trust me.
Do you trust him?
Yeah, we do it every time. We probably shouldn't, but we do it.
I mean, we've seen some crazy plays out of you guys, and they've certainly worked. So it's all the whenever we see something crazy go on, blame Panda like.
Yeah, it's part of his beautiful mind genius, I think, that he's got going on.
Like I said, you guys are a younger team on that sort of big spectrum, but what do you think so far your greatest accomplishment as a team has been? Whether it's something front and center, like, hey, we won this game, or something behind the scenes, like we got through 3 days worth of scrims without getting yelled at or something. Like, what's your biggest unit accomplishment?
I don't think we ever made it to 3 days of scrims.
No, I don't think so,
Yeah.
No.
Maybe like one day successful.
We had a
scrims?
good scrim. We had a scrim where we played properly and tried seriously, and then we, win or lost, we learned something. That's it. We learned something from a scrim. That's our greatest accomplishment today.
You got anything weird that you guys do? I know a lot of some players are superstitious. Barracuda never plays with socks on. DJ Pernicus has to have a coffee before he goes on. You guys do anything weird across the team?
Prime has his Buddha.
Oh yeah, I kissed my tiny Buddha.
Your tiny Buddha.
Yeah, like this big.
It's not a euphemism.
No.
Thankfully.
It's like a 10-year-old broken Buddha that you have to kiss before every game.
Yeah, actually, it broke at the EU regionals, right?
When
Was-
we
or
I
Worlds.
crushed it in my hand.
Yeah.
When we won EU regionals, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there
it's
you
got
go.
some good luck smashed into it now.
Sounds like it's certainly working.
Yeah.
Is that it? Everybody just kind of watches him kiss his Buddha.
I mean,
It's pretty awkward,
Yeah,
but
pretty
you
much.
know.
I mean, one thing I do, but it's not really ritual, is I lick my hands. But that's more of
That's
a
just
grip
weird.
thing. It's
Shouldn't
everyone.
share that.
Everyone
Yeah.
thinks it's weird, but it's you know, I can't play without it. So
Hey, man. I think it's weird too, but whatever works. Absolutely, whatever works. Obey Alliance. You guys have been fantastic, starting new and sort of surging towards the top. I think a lot of people might not have expected you to be here. Nate, day one when you made this team, did you expect to be here?
Absolutely. I thought, maybe we'd be better at scrims, but it doesn't matter because we're here anyway. So this is exactly where I thought we'd be, and hopefully we'll make it to the end.
And what's the future for Obey Alliance?
World champions.
There it is. It's been Obey Alliance. My name's F. That's Captain Twig. That's Pretty Prime. And that, of course, is Nate Ataraxia. It's going to do it for us here with Obey. We'll catch you next time with a different team here on Hi-Res TV.